Silent Hill 8. Downpour. Finally the last of these figure things.
Thank God.
Until PT comes out. We play as Murphy Pendleton. Like the other characters, he's got a terribly fake name. He's an inmate at the Ryle State Prison because he stole a police cruiser. And he also has a dead son. Oh good. The 8th story to have fucking family issues, wanting to avenge his son's death. Murphy makes a deal with George Sewell, a corrections officer.
Murphy is given access to a sequestered inmate, Patrick Napier. He confronts him in the showers, using the steam to block the cameras.
He confronts him with 2 handfuls of lather in the showers, and he says, "Oh, you've got something on your back, let me help you."
Patrick is understandably confused about being approached in the shower. Murphy reminds him, "We were once neighbors."
Then he kills Patrick in the shower to avenge his son's death. You killed me son, you must have at some point. That's what I'm gathering. The story then skips ahead. There's been a riot at the prison, and some inmates are being transferred to Wayside, maximum security prison. He gets on the prison bus, and the Wayside corrections officer, Anne Marie Cunningham, does have one, plausible, not world's hardest to find in a phone book name. Anyway, she's on the bus, and she seems to have a special interest in Murphy.
"I've got a special interest in you, Murphy."
I'm not interested. See what happened in the showers? Anyway, the bus is passing through the eastern part of Silent Hill. Then suddenly, the road drops off into an abyss. The driver tries to regain control, but the bus goes flying off a hill.
Murphy wakes up in the forest next to the bus wreckage. He decides to look around and attempt to find a way out. While he's looking, Anne finds him and tries to stop him.
No, Miss Frizzle.
But she slips and falls into a ravine. Despite the fact that she is trying to arrest Murphy, Murphy still tries to help her from not dying, but fails. And she falls.
So she's dead?
Oh,
no spoilers. This is a spoiler-free channel. Murphy is sad about her death, but continues on. He ends up on the outskirts of Silent Hill. Once there, he meets Howard Blackwood, another fake name. He's a mailman. Well, no, I didn't deliver your package, but I left you a slip.
I knocked as light as I possibly could and you didn't answer the door.
Howard tells Murphy that the roads are all blocked. The only way to leave town is the nearby Sky Tram. They do not have a Sky Tram in Silent Hill.
What, do you not remember it from all the other ones?
Fuck off. Whilst talking, Murphy catches a sight of a mysterious, wheelchair-bound creature in the window of... Hey, they're people too. Howard doesn't see it, and he heads off because he has mail to deliver. So, Murphy heads towards the Sky Tram. He makes his way to the Devil's Pit Stop Diner. It's abandoned, but someone has left the gas on, so Murphy tries to turn it off, but it instead starts a fire. The sprinkler system turns on.
But as the diner fills with water, everything turns into a water-filled hellscape. Oh, the other world!
Oh god, we had Rot World, then we had Ice World, now it's Water World, not that Water World. Murphy explores the hellscape. He encounters a creature called the Void, which is sucking in everything around it. Murphy makes a run for it, and finds himself back in the normal version of the diner. Murphy exits the diner and finds his way into an abandoned house, of course, and there he encounters another escaped prisoner, Sanchez.
Sanchez is wailing on what looks like a helpless woman.
Hiya, take that, senorita. Hiya.
Murphy tries to stop Sanchez, but the woman was actually a monster. He kills Sanchez before going for Murphy. Good on you, Murphy. You just got your homie killed. Good work on that one, bro. And then Murphy kills the monster because he can't die. He's the protagonist.
Murphy continues searching the house to find a change of clothes. He also finds a police badge, which has a black mourning band on it. This indicates that the badge's owner is dead. Enough mourning. It's time for me to play an arcade game, Jailbreak. Murphy wins and it gives him tickets for the Skytram. How convenient.
Murphy then heads to the Devil's Pit in southeast Silent Hill to find the Skytram.
So he catches the Skytram from one end to the other.
Here he finds JP, who used to be a tour guide for the Devil's Pit. JP tells Murphy about an old railcar train in the mines that can take him into the main town. He leaves JP to go find the railcar.
Exploring the caverns, Murphy discovers some newspaper clippings about a train accident that took place in Devil's Pit. The accident killed 8 children and implicated JP's day drinking to the cause. Murphy then goes back outside to find JP contemplating suicide. Murphy tries to console JP. Oh, don't do it.
But my day drinking killed 8 children.
Yeah, but you've got so much to live for. You can drive a train. Your score is only 8. Why not see how high you can go? Anyway, don't jump.
I'm a little drunk. I'm gonna jump. Bye.
Oh, okay. So JP dies. Murphy finds a rail car and rides it into the mines. What is happening? He's trying to escape Silent Hill by going into a mine shaft in a rail car. It's not how mines work.
Well, in this one they do, because he actually does make it out of the mine.
That's great. You go in the Silent Hill mine and then you come out of, like, the mall in Minneapolis. It's like, oh, hello. Along the track, of course, the monsters that pop out and try to kill him, yada, 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 and then the cart eventually derails, yada, yada, and Murphy blacks out, of course. Transition.
Murphy regains consciousness near an exit into town. How convenient.
Anna's there.
Freeze, Murphy, I'm here to arrest you.
Wait, I thought you were dead.
That's what you thought. I'm not sure how I survived, but I'm here. No damage, no broken bones, nothing. Let me search you, Murphy. What's this? This is a police badge with a black mourning badge on it, and I know who used to own it. Why do you have this?
I'm holding it for a friend.
This wasn't your friend. I'm gonna shoot you. Oh no, I can't go through with it.
Oh, why not?
Morals or something.
She collapses to the ground and tells Murphy to
Piss off, you piece of shit.
see, you were going to arrest me before, but now that I've stolen a police badge, not under arrest? Okay. Catch you later. Murphy finally makes it to central Silent Hill. There's monsters, fog, and rain, of course, and Murphy can't handle the rain, so he goes inside to get out of the rain, taking shelter in one of the abandoned buildings. Here, Murphy picks up a radio broadcast from DJ Bobby Rocks. But this is weird, right? Because some song requests are made out to Murphy. And other broadcasts are cries for help from anyone who might be listening.
Help me, please.
Wow, this is really some spooky stuff. Once the rain dies down, he decides to find DJ Bobby Rocks.
On his way, he bumps into Howard Blackwood, the mailman. Howard tells Murphy that the radio station is located in the Centennial Building. He then walks off into the fog again to deliver more mail. Not really sure who's getting mail, since there doesn't seem to be anyone around town.
Who's he running a radio station for? I reckon you get so fucking bored. You just tell the whole Silent Hill story. Yeah, anyway, do you guys ever think about that time we killed that girl at school? Boy, things have really gone downhill since then. Anyway, up next, who let the dogs out? Murphy gets to the Centennial Building. They have a Centennial Building. They have everything in this tiny town of 4 people. Here he finds his parole papers hanging on the entrance. How mysterious. The papers trigger a flashback to Ryle Prison. Murphy and Officer Sewell are having a secret conversation about their deal to murder Patrick in the shower. Not Patrick, but Officer Frank Coldridge spots the two. He talks to Murphy and hands him his files. Officer Coldridge wants to know what Murphy and Sewell were talking about, but Murphy just brushes, prison stuff. Coldridge warns him about Sewell. Listen, this fella doesn't do favors for anyone. You're gonna have to repay him somehow. It's gonna be bad. And also, I have helped to negotiate an early release for you. Coldridge then asks Murphy what he's doing here, and says, you're not like the other guys. You're a good prisoner. He tells him, you better steer clear of Sewell. He's a bad influence on you.
I agree. Not a good guy, that bloke.
Back in the present, Murphy finds Bobby Rocks. Bobby tells Murphy that he's been keeping the radio waves going while waiting for help. He also tells him about a boat that's docked at the marina and that they can use it to escape. They just need to find the keys to the boat, which was stolen, unfortunately.
Why don't we just hotwire the boat? I could do that already. That's what I went to prison for.
But Bobby says that's against the rules of Silent Hill. So they're aware of their own stupid narrative devices. And so he's going to have to go to like a hotel next. And then it's going to be room 666. And there he's going to get attacked by a monster. Then on the monster's body is going to be a boat key that says gone fishing. Then he has to go underneath a windmill and through a Denny's. And then once he gets back to the boat, he'll black out and then someone will take him to his destination. Anyway, as they go to leave, Annie bursts into the room and tries to arrest Murphy. Hey, Murphy, you're under arrest. Remember when I told you to piss off? I'm changing my mind.
Change my mind as soon as you left.
I like the idea that she tells him to piss off and he's walking away, and then just under her breath, she goes, psych. Anne picks up the phone in the radio room, but it's dead, and tries to make a call, but it's dead. The monsters break through the glass and ambush the 3, leaving only Murphy, who has to stay for narrative reasons.
Then, things shift back to the nightmare world again. The void is back. And the thing in the wheelchair? It's not a thing, it's a person, but it's also back. As he runs away from both of them, he falls off the building's clock tower.
Oh my god. Murphy wakes up on a bench back in the normal world. He sees Howard again. Hello, Howard. Murphy is upset with the riddles and mind games and he wants out. Take me back to prison. Howard says, I don't understand what you're talking about, and it doesn't matter what you want. Here's a letter. It says that you should head to St. Maria's Monastery. You didn't read this letter ahead of time, right? So I like the idea that he delivers your mail and tells you what the mail is. Yeah, this is like $200. How much electricity do you use? Then Howard goes on to deliver more mail. Murphy goes to the monastery. Here he meets with a nun who tells him,
"You were the only family that we were able to locate, Mr. Murphy."
She tells Murphy to meet her in the morgue. On his way to the morgue, he sees a small boy through a locked door, but the boy doesn't let Murphy in because he's been told by a fellow child that Murphy is the boogeyman.
Ooh. The only way that Murphy can prove that he isn't the boogeyman is by reciting a poem.
Murphy wants info from the child, so he goes to find the poem. As he finds the pieces of the poem, we see flashbacks. The flashback reveals that Murphy's son, Charlie, was drowned a few years ago. And the man he killed in prison, Patrick Napier, is the one responsible.
Back in the present, Murphy returns to the little boy and he begins to recite the poem.
Cat, mat, hat, sat. I love it, good poem. But the boogeyman comes along and kills the kid before he can fully recite it. Oh no, he won't hear my beautiful limerick. Murphy finishes the poem anyway, and the door unlocks. He mourns the death of the boy.
But then, a little girl shows up. She accuses Murphy of being the boogeyman and books it. Murphy goes after her, fearing that the actual boogeyman will attack her. As he looks for the girl, the monastery transforms into the other world again, because why wouldn't it?
Then he sees the girl in the distance, and he runs over to her. Come over here, you. I'm gonna fucking get ya. As he runs, the floor caves in, and he falls, and he blacks out because it's an impossible situation that he couldn't survive, so we have to transition. Murphy wakes up in the morgue. Then the nun is there. She thanks Murphy for coming to shepherd his son home. What?
She pulls back a sheet to reveal the dead boogeyman.
Murphy is upset and calls the boogeyman a murderer.
The nurse says, "I guess it just runs in the family."
Then the two have a screaming match, and it ends with Murphy accepting the death of his son and admitting that killing Patrick didn't fix anything. I've never understood that, right? When someone says like, oh, well, you take revenge on someone, it doesn't solve anything. You're not trying to solve anything. You're just trying to get vengeance. It's like for honor. Listen, people out there, if I die somehow, even if it's kind of accidental, like if a bus driver hits me or something, avenge my death. They took my life, you should take their life.
People are like, oh, no eye for eye. They're like, oh, no consequences for being a dick.
Eye for an eye is exactly the way it should go. And you should be able to keep his eye. Try and see it'll fit in your own head. Like, if I steal $100,000 from you, you should be looking to be compensated. It's not like, well, we can't all be taking $100,000 from each other or the whole world will be left poor. It's such a stupid philosophy. No, get revenge. I want to see the death penalty if you can. I hate Murphy now. Anyway, the scene ends with Murphy finding the boat keys around the boogeyman's neck. The boogeyman then wakes up and grabs Murphy. Gotcha! Murphy and the boogeyman are then transported to the lakeshore.
They fight. Hi-yah!
Murphy defeats the boogeyman. He then finds himself back at the morgue.
The boogeyman's mask is gone, and his face is morphing between Murphy's and Patrick's. Ooh, that symbolism.
Murphy's son Charlie appears and exclaims that he has killed the boogeyman. Murphy tells Charlie that it doesn't matter because it didn't bring you back. Charlie says, this isn't your fault. Murphy then apologizes to Patrick and closes his eyes. Then he finally gets the boat keys.
Murphy then goes through the sewers to get to the boat. He arrives at the boat and he starts to make his escape. But oh my god, Anne is also on the boat and she's here to arrest him once again because she's had 3 tries at this point.
She can't make up her bloody mind. She tells Murphy to turn this boat around and then we're not getting ice cream on the way back either. And that you can't leave before we settle our unfinished business.
Murphy says, I'm not going back and you may as well just shoot me.
So she does. Yeah. Wow, alright. The gunshot causes another flash. It's an impossible situation. Time for a flashback. Sewell and Murphy are having a conversation. Sewell says Murphy's leaving soon and he has to pay back the favor before he leaves. Murphy has to kill someone who deserves it. Sewell tells Murphy about setting up a riot, giving him an opportunity to perform another murder in the showers. He's gonna kill another person, not just Patrick. Oh my god. Murphy wakes up in the Silent Hill Penitentiary. The wheelchair thing is there and it's watching him through the cell bars. It then rolls away and the jail door opens for no reason at all. Murphy explores the prison. He finds a note telling him to go to the showers.
In the showers, there are 4 crime scene markers. A big old pool of blood, a shank, the morning police badge that Murphy found earlier in the game, and an evidence bag. Murphy is then called by a mysterious voice towards the body bag. As he goes towards the bag, things go otherworld again, and the void comes back.
Man, this game is a load of old shit. He ends up in a room with 2 large scales of justice hanging. It's all a metaphor, fellas. He wasn't was about family, this time it's about justice. It's just convoluted nonsense. It's so pretentious too, like the idea that they're going to get to the 8th version of this horror game and they're going to go, he makes a good philosophical point, you know. Who do you subscribe to? You like Engels? You're a big fan of Karl Popper? Subscribe to Murphy Pendletonism? Murphy puts the crime scene stuff on the scales, and the door opens. Inside is a much larger version of the wheelchair man. Murphy then runs around, pulling out the monster's life support tubes. He kills the wheelchair thing with no remorse.
Murphy then finds himself back in the showers. Anne's there too. Anne says, "How could you? He was a good man." Murphy is confused.
What?
And then a flashback happens once again. We're witnessing Murphy's second murder in the showers. It's Officer Coleridge from before, the guy who told him to stay away from Sewell, told him he was a good prisoner.
Murphy has trouble going through with it. So Sewell comes in and convinces Murphy to hold up his end. You gotta hold up your end of the bargain. Murphy says no. Scene transition.
Back in the present, Anne tells Murphy that Coleridge was her father. Coleridge was in fact not murdered, but had fallen into a vegetative state after his attack. He had to rely on a wheelchair until his death. I bet you feel bad about making fun of that wheelchair thing now, don't you guys? Anne tells Murphy that every time she looked at her father, all she saw was the monster that attacked him. She saw Murphy. Murphy starts turning into the boogeyman, and Anne shoots him once again. This guy's had 2 gunshots now, still alive.
And then they have a boss fight where Murphy is the boogeyman and Anne is shooting him while running away. The boogeyman Murphy eventually disarms Anne, but he decides to spare Anne's life and walk away. This truly is a moral lesson for us all.
And then, the final flashback back to the riot night. It turns out that Murphy refused to kill Coleridge.
So Sewell attacks Coleridge himself. Sewell then taunts Murphy for not being able to kill Patrick. Ha ha, you cannot do it. Saying that he had to complete the murder himself. Sewell stabs Coleridge with the shank and then radios for backup, framing Murphy for the crime.
Dun dun dun!
Back to the present. Murphy turns back into Murphy. He apologizes, "I'm sorry," claiming it was all his fault. It was all my fault. Anne is convinced of his innocence because somehow she saw the flashback as well, and she forgives him. Then they hug. Oh, that's kind of nice. Then they're transported back to the lakeside, and then gets contacted by radio police, asking for her location and whether or not she knows the whereabouts of master criminal Murphy Pendleton. Anne lies. She tells them that Murphy was killed in the bus accident and there's no body for no reason. Murphy asks if Anne is going to be okay.
Are you gonna be okay, Anne?
She instead tells him,
"Get going! The police will arrive soon!"
Murphy books it, and the game ends with Anne looking out over the lake. Boy, this is the worst one yet. Listen, there's 2 good Silent Hill games. Silent Hill 1 and 2, and the best part of the games are the first 15 minutes. That's it. This series is shit. We're going to be playing something else soon.